But yeah, this headset and mic wasn't cheap. This was about an 80 quid headset and mic. So I didn't like just buy 15 quid monstrosity. I was expecting it to be really good. Although I should maybe try it on a different computer to make sure I can definitely narrow down it is the hardware and not some software setup. Oops. That's what you get for looking at the chat.
Is it yet to me to have like motion platform on, motion platform off?
I haven't turned it. I haven't turned it on yet. I was going to turn it on. I'm not strapped in. I will reset my cup data. I will link the motion rig. Wait for it. I was expecting it to. It does appear to be. Didn't feel it. I will strap myself in. I do use an extender for this headset. Oh, do I? Yes, I do use an extender, you see, for the headset. Because it wouldn't reach the computer otherwise. So I do wonder whether or not that might have a bit of crosstalk in it.
That's the thing that can be experimented on.
Yeah, but bear in mind I only use this thing for 6 hours a week, and that's 3 hours on a Sunday night and 3 hours on a Monday night. So it just sits to the other side of my room. Apart from that,
And that's something you do on accident, but
I mean, I don't like wander over and start fiddling with it. I just don't touch this bit.
not now.
Yeah, but I don't.
Now, but
Yeah, I know. I mean, I need to think about it when I'm not doing something more important. Are you imminent, Izzard?
Yeah. Yep. Do you use the handbrake tool when you're racing in Wreckfest?
If I want to spin the car out, absolutely, it's brilliant.
You don't use it going corners at all?
I don't. On a pad, it's different because it really adds a walloping great amount of extra control. Whereas on the steering wheel, you hit the handbrake, you just go into a spin.
Yeah, because I use it sometimes on the pad, but I haven't got any handbrake on the steering.
Yeah, I have my 11-bit handbrake. It's literally just pull and let go, and then the car just massively overspins. I mean, it's realistic. That just doesn't mean it's actually any use. Just trying to move this car. There we go. Is that better? I did do some 3D printing and some designing, so I can now, without a huge amount of effort, I can now get a HOTAS on my motion rig again, which I haven't done since we played Squadrons. So that means that it's mostly for sneaky spaceships, but we keep saying about doing War Thunder as well. War Thunder. And with the War Thunder. Oh yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, as I said, I like to do a few races before the stream with the motion rig turned off, just to remind myself I am actually a competent driver. And now it's... Well, it feels like it would feel if I actually took a old Volkswagen and just drove it at 70 miles an hour across rough ground. Yeah, spine shaking.
Tentacles.
Tickle him harder.
No, can't succeed. Sad face.
It's nice out here in first place. It's peaceful. You guys keep ramming each other.
Someone trying to knock your crap all the time.
I know, it's great. I don't know if the big Ashnear patch has landed, but I had 2.5 gig update on this machine. But I definitely want to try out the trains because they do look awesome. But unless they've changed the game, they will be just lol. Look, we've got roller coasters. Because even in the dev stream, he just made a roller coaster. It's like you can't even show us a useful setup for your new gameplay feature.
Choo.
Well, yes, but you can make a proper roller coaster, like flips and barrel rolls and stuff. That's an interesting racing line, and you kept you in front as well.
Yeah. Just wanted to give him the sense that he might win.
That's nice of you. That's nice.
Second.
Alright, game. Stop it. I'm trying to change car now. So I do feel on that track like that the four-wheel drive should be good. I'm going to try it. Every time I try the four-wheel drive, I hate it, but I'm going to give it a bash. Oh, it has no green on it at all. Where I am. Wait, can I not choose the colour? Oh, it has chosen the colour. There we go. Yes, that's more like it. Yeah, I feel this car should do better. Well, Max hasn't chosen it. Should do better because it's four-wheel drive, and this is almost entirely an off-road track. So, and it's not a fast one, so it should do great. But I just seem to struggle with it. Nothing like four-wheel drive for pulling away, though. Why are you all in blue cars?
Why not just blue?
No, none of the cars are just blue, but they have... Oh, bollocks. Come on.
Blue and yellow. Colours.
I've got my car jammed up on the Armco. Oh, there we go, it's off. Yeah, so for its four-wheel drive, it should handle a lot better than this, but actually handles atrociously. Anyway, I had my absolute best public... I had my absolute best public charging experience yesterday. Drove all the way down to Leamington, about 130 miles. Parked in the car park next to the pub where I was meeting people, £3, and plugged in their 7kW charger for about 10 hours. So I completely filled the car up. So I was still on 50% when I got back.
£3 was the cost of what?
To park. I had free charging.
So but, £3 to park all day, and you could eat as much electricity as you could consume.
Yep. They're not normally expecting you to turn up with a Tesla with a 77kWh battery that's pretty much empty. Not empty, it was about 20% or something. I was planning on popping to a supercharger on the way back, but I was like, ah, brilliant.
Oh, that's good. A bit of a wheel that's doing... It's got something showing through it, shall I say. Shelka bloody ramming me all the time.
Stop the win.
The wheel is still there, but it's just there's something showing through it. It's weird.
Did you say that's the only winning move, Schalke? Sounds like you're telling
Yeah,
a
I
whopper.
needed the Wreckfest break in order to have the boost.
Ramming speed.
Yeah, that car's shit. I should stop using it.
That's like wrecking speed, when you lose the speed.
I even painted it better colours, and that didn't help my performance. Ah, he's just got a speedy. I'm tempted to join him in a speedy. I am. Are you sure, Max?
Yep.
Okay.
Malcolm's joining us.
Ah. Quick, everyone get as many points as we can.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, forgot to reconnect the motion rig. First time I've done that in a while. I was just so disgusted with the last car I drove. Whoa. So, I don't know how many of you have been watching Stranger Things, but the second half of the season just dropped. There's 2 episodes in the second half of the season. First one is 1 hour and 15 minutes, and the second episode is 2.5 hours long. I don't understand what Netflix are doing.
I couldn't even make it 2.5 episodes into the TV show.
Yeah, well, you have no sense of taste. You know, one of the most critically acclaimed modern horror shows of all time, but you didn't like it. I know it was a bit scary. Also, your TV
No, it's scary, boring.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I
it's not.
genuinely also. I do agree with you actually about that. I think there are a lot of references that just don't ring with me at all.
I mean, if it's boring, then I don't even think you got 2.5 episodes in. So I'm pretty sure Bob doesn't even make it 2.5 episodes.
I've tried watching it like a couple of times. No. I think there's a lot of 80s references in there.
No. For a show set in the 80s, crazy.
Oh, I didn't really know it was set in the 80s, but that's the point. It's an 80s show.
Wait, you watched 2.5 episodes?
Show.
You didn't work out it was set in the 80s?
It's before my time.
What? I don't understand.
Honestly,
Were you just watching a GIF?
I watched a TV show such a long time ago and just went, oh my god, just so bored.
Ah, great show. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, what the fuck? I don't ever want a 2.5 hour episode of anything. That's just ridiculous.
Why does my car drive itself backwards when it's gone past the winning line thing?
Because it got spun around.
I suppose
Spun itself
in
around.
different format because it is streaming after all, and you can watch it and pause it whenever you like. A bit different from
just come back to
A,
that.
cinema, and B, terrestrial TV that's being broadcast.
You're quite quiet and muffled in comparison to it. Normally that by the way, is it?
That's because I'm using the inline mic, just because the controller's quite far away. I can switch to that, but I think it'll be it's a nice mic, but it'll be too far
It's
away.
okay. I was just wondering if you were aware it's different.
Otherwise, I'll switch to it, but I don't think it'll be better. So yeah, anyway, my point was that they probably expect people to not watch it all in one go.
Well then, why not put 2
Yeah,
episodes up?
Why not just go?
Yeah, because they could just put like they could just do like a 10-hour episode instead, because you can choose when to stop, so they don't need episodes at all, really.
Yeah.
They're not gonna
I mean, that's something.
Can you imagine if they did it like a live film when they just split it into 2 halves? It was just like part 1, 1.5 hours. Part 2, you have a 20-minute break, and then you have part 2 going now.
Yeah.
On our schedule, not yours.
I don't think they've done it.
live TV used to work.
I suspect they are experimenting with this. I've never seen it before. But I've noticed with a lot of... Oh, I'm in the wrong fucking track. Fuck you, I thought it took a... Yeah. Could you guys just retire? Because it's going to be easier.
Why?
Because I'm not in the race.
Oh. Why are you not in the race?
Because the game didn't load. Come on, DNF. Don't make me kick you. I can do that.
I'm gonna push Izzard off the track. Alright.
God,
Okay,
so
do it again, but better, Adam. Come on.
No, it's only for it's
Do it.
it's got to be a race condition with the fact I have a ping of 1 or 2. I choose the new track, and you guys all load, and I don't. And I happened not to notice. I just put it on.
Wi-Fi's now burst into
You're
flame.
but you're not running the server on your PC, are you? You're running on a different PC.
Yeah, it's over there. But I get a ping of.
Right, this is strange.
How come you're... I don't know how you had the problem. Sorry, say it again, is it?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Is it better?
Better quality, a little bit quieter, but yeah, better quality.
Exactly.
Less muffled.
Yeah, sorry, Malcolm. I'm not going to explain to you what a race condition is. I'm pretty sure it's a race condition.
Nothing to do with racing.
No, sadly not.
I'm sure you lose at those ones as well.
I lose at race conditions.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry, how many times have you beaten me tonight? None.
The night's still young.
That's what she said. Right, that didn't work.
How is your mum?
She's good, thank you. Better value than yours as well.
I'm going to say I left something at your mum's house last time I was there.
Your dignity?
Your dignity.
Hey! Yeah, brilliant.
Oh, reset.
I was even racing.
No,
Well,
because they
I'm
all
on the
decided
wrong
to.
side of the barrier.
Everyone decided to make me crash, so you've just got away scot-free.
Ah, everyone
I
decided to
come
make
off the
you
worst, I
crash.
think you're fine.
I think Iz
There's
came
the
off the
Yonko, let's
worst.
push him into it. On the edge of it.
Yeah, I
Whoa!
got pushed into the wrong
Concrete!
side of the barrier. Spectacularly unhelpful.
I don't think I've ever done this track backwards before. Oh, just to force the game to load my track back in again.
I think we have done it backwards before, because I think one of the corners is the one that everyone just kept on going straight over the edge on, like through the barrier.
Ooh,
There's one corner on here that I just thought was very familiar. Yeah, it really is.
And we've done it forwards.
I think we've done an
times.
I think we've done an alternative mode of this track. Like when you get to the
There's a
you've got
short
kind of a
version.
long kind of straight-ish.
Yeah.
Is this a short version?
No, it's a long version.
Okay, there's like kind of a longish bend, and then there's an end, like a hard left with a big postery sign at the end of it, and it just feels familiar, like you guys are just going straight over the edge of it. It's quite funny.
Oh! Oh!
Catching me up.
In time.
Yeah, I have time. I'm just driving really carefully, because if I make a mistake, I'm going to lose. If I don't, I mean, come on.
But yeah, as I was saying,
I'll catch the F1s after him, by the way.
I saw the 360 spin. And did anything else of note happen?
Oh, I was thinking of Schalke when they were saying, oh, the marshals are going to review the this
Oh.
incident, that incident. I was thinking, oh, yes, of course, the rules must be adhered to. Yes.
What the look behind button is still.
Triangle by default.
No, that's reset.
Reset for me is L3 or L2. I love your AI, Max. Look over and then just plowed you into a wall.
Maybe the D-pad.
Yeah, back on the D-pad would be not a bad one. Yes, I'm not going to use the Trooper because it's rubbish. I did try. It's four-wheel drive. It should do well. It's just not. But yeah, because we have an end game world in Astroneer, we should definitely try the trains patch and see what they've done.
Can they be like made useful like by carrying materials around?
Well, in theory, yes, because you can use the robot arms. So yes, but why do you need to do that? The game has no reason to have a train run off to a mineral deposit and bring it back. Like,
Obviously, you've got the an infinite conveyor belt.
well, yeah, but so what you've got situation is instead of spending 1 minute driving there and getting the resources, you could spend 2 hours to have the resources brought to you instantly, or just do the 1 minute thing 120 times. That's the thing about the game. Unless they changed fundamentally the way the game is, which they don't seem to be, they're adding in stuff that's more about fun rather than like useful gameplay.
Game about fun.
Yeah, but like,
Oh no.
okay, but then they're adding the wrong shit in, aren't they? If the idea is to have this fun little world to exist in, why the fuck are they adding in trains? That's my point. Is they don't seem to know what they're doing at all. Everyone wants trains because Factorio has trains. And Factorio barely struggles to have a point for having trains. And Satisfactory has trains. Don't know whether they're
Well, to be fair, Factorio's reason for trains is long distances.
No, yes, but there is no reason to have it. You can complete the whole game without using trains. The only reason to use trains is I like trains. There's no reason to use it. Can't comment on Satisfactory. Not really played it.
Like I said, I think the reason for it is long distance.
Yeah, but you don't.
You've got a long distance to cover.
Right, but you don't need it. It's not. Cause
Maybe it's cheaper
you can just,
in terms of resources. For the people to train a bit of track costs less than
than a belt. It doesn't, does it?
I haven't spent enough time thinking about it, but I like trains.
Yeah. Oh, this is the thing.
I like trains.
People get very.
It does make sense. Astroneer is a tiny little planet, isn't it?
Yeah. No, people get very defensive when I point this out about Factorio, which is they added trains, and everyone plays with the trains, but you don't need to. They're there for no other reason than to mess around with trains. People are like, oh no, you need them for like ultra mega high-end bases. I'm like, you're supposed to launch the rocket ship and complete the game. That's what you're supposed to do. You've decided to play the game wrong, which is fine. That's up to you. And then argue that that's important and that's part of the game. Let's see Tad's argument. There you go. But yeah, I don't know about Satisfactory. But you really, for trains, you need infinite nodes. So you need to set it up.
Don't need trains in Satisfactory.
I don't know.
How is that relevant for trains?
Because you don't set up a train, which takes a lot of time. If your node is going to run out in 12 hours, you just wouldn't do it. There's no point.
That happens in Astroneer, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well,
Forgot that, yeah.
I don't know. I don't think we've actually run a node dry, but in theory, yes.
What you're saying is, well, yeah, I think at least we have done at least two.
No, not via the automated ones. I don't think.
Okay. Anyway, the point I was making is, what you're saying is basically they're doing it as a populist move, sort of. We've got trains do, me too, sort of thing.
Yeah, they look cool.
But
Me too, sort of thing.
Every company does that. Oh, this company's got this feature and it's really popular. We've got to do that as well. Me too. You know, it's not a new phenomenon.
Yeah, he doesn't mean hashtag me too. That's something else. That's something else.
Hashtag me too.
I didn't say hashtag.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, but it's just saying me too.
I can't go backwards.
Yeah.
Why is it going backwards?
Tad, as far as I'm aware, the trains in all games are a mess, and people have asked for trains in Fortress Craft 2, and I need to think about it very carefully and make sure it's an integral part of the progression, not just something because you've played the game so much and you're bored of everything else, but you've never built them, and you just plow in, 20, 30 hours into making trains. That's okay, but as I said, it's like Grand Theft Auto. You can just make sculptures out of buses in Grand Theft Auto, but to argue that that's a fundamental part of the game is just missing the point. And Astroneer does not look like it's changed the game in any way at all to make trains an integral part of the progression. But they do look cool. They look like roller coasters. You can do like loop-the-loops and Heartline rolls and stuff.
the heartline roll?
Where you roll and your heart doesn't move, it just rotates. So you're doing a roll, but your roll is around the middle of your chest rather than your head or your feet.
So it's a barrel roll. Kind of.
Yeah, but a barrel roll doesn't indicate like what axis you're rotating around, whereas a heartline roll does.
Oh, I see.
I think there was a distinction between a roll and a barrel roll.
I don't know. A barrel roll is just a rotational maneuver in an airplane. I don't think it means anything more than that. I'm wrong. Which axis?
Translation component.
Yeah, but a barrel
If
roll
you
is
just spin around. It's
well, it's a barrel roll. A heartline roll is like a roller coaster roll because it feels cool because your head is moving in a different direction to your feet. Yikes! Bear in mind, I'd love a game to have like extensive use of trains, but outside of Transport Tycoon, I mean, it's like the mine carts, the freight carts in Fortress Craft. They're really not integral to the game. They're brilliant and they're just so fun to set up and watch move around and do stuff. But in the 50 hours it took you to set it up, you could have just completed the game instead by just, with belts.
What you're saying is belts are sort of cheesy, spoily things that really shouldn't be in games at all.
Well, no, the thing is, with
technologically,
Factorio,
they aren't possible to do belts that bloody long in real life.
Well, you could. What's stopping it? I know what's stopping you, but what do you think you can't? There's only one reason you can't.
It's impractical to put them like miles and miles along.
Why?
Cost, surely.
Yeah, they do that on some open mines.
Yeah.
Yes, but they're movable, and they don't go for miles and miles. Well, not more than a couple of miles.
I mean, mostly,
yeah.
the answer to your question is they're outdoors, and you don't generally run conveyor belts outdoors. You've got belts on mines, but it's quite rare. It's cost, it's maintenance, but none of these things are reflected in a computer game. The problem with Factorio is there's nothing stopping me running 1,000 meters of belts from A to B. And you know what I can then do to double the throughput? I can put another row of belts. And if I want another 50%, another row of belts. And I could just have this...
They stack. So you just go, oh, I'm going to stack another line on top of that one.
Yep.
There you go. It goes exactly the same place.
Same as Astroneer. Oh.
Well, no, actually, it really doesn't have any things like that. That thing actually doesn't have
each other, can't you?
Doesn't have belts.
Doesn't have belts.
Yeah,
You thinking of Satisfactory? Or are you thinking of not
arms?
Yeah, you thinking of the Dyson Sphere program?
Yes, I think it's Dyson Sphere program. Sorry, I'm really confused now.
Yeah, Dyson Sphere program has the same problem. If it had trains, you'd be like...
my previous comments, please.
Yeah, but in Dyson Sphere program, there'd be no point in having trains because you just run more belts.
Astroneer. Okay, so now I've got Astroneer loaded in my head.
Yeah.
That doesn't have belts at all, does it?
No, it has robot arms.
It's got the arms, and that's it.
But it has got trains. But you have no reason to move resources a long way, and unless the trains are very, very cheap to build and put up, you'll never use them. Now, they do have the advantage that right now, when you're trying to drive a vehicle from A to B to go and collect something, it does kind of get jammed up on stuff. Whereas the trains, obviously, each time you go from A to B, it'll be perfect. It won't go wrong, it won't get caught, and it won't fall in a hole.
If you lay it out right, I guess.
Well, no, it won't do. It doesn't matter. It can't fall in a hole. It can't go wrong. It's always going to follow the track. So that's one advantage of it. But they look fun. I've got to give them that. But I said during the dev stream, of which I watched the important bit, he just went, now we'll do this and this, and he just made a roller coaster track. So when the devs still can't show you a gameplay reason to create this thing, I just sigh. The same way I sighed when Raft put out the creative patch. I was like, brilliant.
The, hey, look, you can make your stuff pretty. I just went, cool, I'll wait till the proper patch comes out.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with a lot of logistics games. I try very hard with Fortress Craft not to have a best thing to make sure everything has a drawback. There's always a trade-off. You have to sit there and go, which one do I want? Whereas in Factorio, you just go, how many logistics drones can I get? And pretty much in Dyson Sphere program as well, unfortunately.
in the SNC program it's not so dominating, like designed that the drones are good. In Factory it seems like an oversight of balance.
Well, it's not, because the devs... Oh, fuck you, Malcolm. The devs...
I was wondering, looking at your cards come on my screen.
The devs tried to balance out the logistics drones, and the community did a huge backlash. And instead of saying, sorry, children, you can't have all the sweets in the sweet shop, they kowtowed and allowed the logistics drones to remain completely unbalanced. So Factorio is just a tech rush for the logistics drones, and everything else is irrelevant. This is a poorly designed and a poorly balanced game.
Yeah, but it's not about balanced design. It's about having fun, enjoying yourself while you're wasting your time playing a game.
No, right, but
if you want to go to a logical conclusion, playing games is a waste of time. You don't get any.
No. Wait. That's the awful slippery slope argument. So Factorio has 100 machines in it. So you're telling me it's fine that 90 of them have no use at all? That's poorly designed game. That's like having Borderlands and you just use the start gun all the way through. Like, it might be fun still, but you've kind of wasted a whole chunk of development time, and you know you've balanced your game poorly.
It's down to the users what they think of it.
Well, yes.
How they want to spend their time on it, you know.
Well,
that's one of the magic things about making a game, isn't it? Is the environment, the community can run with it and go, hey, look, you can do this thing.
Well,
and you're like, I never thought you could do that.
So
So
your argument is that if you're playing Borderlands, instead of using a good gun, you could use a shit gun. Yes, this is true, but
Borderlands is a very different game to the sort of open worldy sort of things that you get with Factorio.
No, not really. So in Factorio, you have a bunch of tools in order to achieve a goal. In Borderlands, you have a bunch of tools to achieve a goal. My point is that in Factorio, they've misbalanced it. So you skip a whole bunch of stuff because it would be a poor gameplay choice on your part, a poor progression choice to do it. To build trains is a bad idea. To focus on, I can't remember what the other shit is, but it's the same thing in Borderlands. If you were to just use the start gun, it's a poor way of doing it. There's nothing stopping you.
Yeah, you need better guns.
Yeah, but you don't need better. That's the thing. You do need better guns. In Factorio, you don't need anything other than logistics drones. That's the point. They haven't balanced it, so you're not sitting there going, oh, what should I do? Should I do this? Sid Meier very famously said that a computer game is a series of meaningful decisions. And Factorio lacks that, unless you are purposely deciding to make it more difficult for yourself.
I still think you're missing the point that it's fun for the person that's playing it.
It might. That's not relevant to the discussion at all. Whether or not it's fun is irrelevant.
Oh, okay.
It's like in Imagine in Borderlands, you started the game and the first gun did 100 million DPS and all the rest of the games were worse. All the rest of the guns were worse. That is a badly designed game. Whether or not you have fun playing is not the point. That's a poorly designed game, and they spend a whole shit ton of time doing all the other guns that aren't as good as the starting gun that does 100 million DPS. You might still have fun playing the game, but that does not alter the point, which is they haven't balanced it properly. And it would probably Factorio. Well, Factorio would probably be more fun if there were meaningful decisions about your progression. There just aren't, which is a shame. There should be a bit where you go, oh, in this situation trains are best, in this situation belts are best, in this situation drones are best, but there just isn't. Drones are always best.
They aren't, but...
But they are. But they absolutely are. I mean, I'm not going to have this discussion with you because I don't know what your level of skill in Factorio, but every single other Factorio player will absolutely disagree with you. Drones are way too cheap, way too fast, way too efficient, way too easy to get. There's no reason to ever not use them.
You need to use them with trains. Long distance. If you got, say for example, you got a long distance node. I don't know what example distance to use. So maybe I'll say a mile away from your base.
Right,
and that logistics set up in your base.
But this already means that you've stopped playing the game and you're buggering about because you don't ever deal with nodes a mile away unless you're running a mod or you've decided not to launch the rocket. That's just not a reason. You're already outside of what the game is wanting you to do. It has been a while since I played Factorio.
So I've had to literally get back on track again.
I would argue that you need a mix of trains and logistics trains because trains are slow and you need to put power and you need the recharging stations every so many meters basically for them to be able to get from A to B. They don't cover the area like a train does.
Yeah, but
it's fast and it's quick, whereas trains are slow. and low capacity. Trains are quick and have high capacity.
But you can build as many drones as you like because they don't really have like collision. There's no like space requirement. That's what I mean. They tried to address these, and the community bitched because the community just wanted a one-shot best way of doing stuff, and they got it. And the devs tried to saying, "Oh, we're going to be nerfing these," and everyone whined. And instead of saying, as I said, you can't have all the sweets in the sweetie shop, you'll feel sick, they went, "Oh, of course you can have all the sweeties, darling."
I think it's more about loss aversion rather than having one best thing.
Yeah, I think they must be doing it wrong because, I mean, if you wanted drones to go a long way to collect some stuff,
Well,
that would be super slow.
again, if you're
You
just
would just use belts. You would just use belts. You wouldn't use drones at all.
you've just sort of said, "Oh, all the professional Factorio streamers are doing it wrong." They're not.
Yeah.
Right, except maybe on purpose for the views.
I mean, you'd have drones locally building things and doing things, but they're very. I think, well,
Yeah.
limited to my experience, but
Yeah.
in my opinion, they're very limited to local use. So you want to build something within a range of drones, yes, do it.
Yeah,
But you
but-
can't send them halfway across a map because they're slow.
Well,
You know.
you can then build more drones, but 100 times more drones.
You need to build a network of charging stations for them to be able to get across the map. That's the other
Which is
drawback.
it's still cheaper and faster and less resources than doing belts or trains. This is my point. They're just broken. And there's also zero thought involved because you just go, this drone requests this resource. And exactly, it does it. Whereas with a train, you go, oh, I'm going to have to put points here and do this and fiddle with it. And but bear in mind, I'm not arguing that messing around with trains isn't fun. I mean, Transport Tycoon, there's no game apart from messing around with trains. It's great fun to do that.
Yeah.
But that is the game. And if you could do transport belts in Transport Tycoon that just literally just move resources constantly one side of the map to the other, you might go, yeah, I'm just building these. I'd love to see a game that used trains, like a logistics game that used trains as an integral part. And it's a challenge I do plan to tackle for Fortress Craft 2. I just haven't worked out what.
You could do like realistic-y train, like trains that have what do they call them? They are freight, but they aren't freight. They hold the raw ores in the what do we call it in the battle?
Oh,
Thanks,
shit.
Adam.
Fuck's sake.
The hoppers or something, aren't they? But you can sort of, I don't know if that's a thing, but trains that carry raw unprocessed ore.
Well,
And then they go past the thing, they drop the ore off, for processing.
I mean,
make more things.
partly you need to design your world in such a way so that trains are useful. So, for example, in reality, use trains because you have to move your resources a huge, hundreds of miles quite often.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't build a train to move coal 50 feet. So, but
Yeah.
you
Use
need.
airplanes.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You do build. I mean, if you how many mines you've been to, but what do they call those little? I guess they're called minecarts.
Yeah, minecarts.
They use them to move, coal a distance,
Yeah.
50 feet, but
Yeah.
certainly a small distance
Yes.
that would be pushable by man or by machine or something. I don't know.
I mean, quite important. They're not a
So
train.
could you start with that and then upgrade to trains?
Well-
To move it out, get it to the end of the cart, out the end of the mine, sorry.
Maybe.
And then process it from there by horse and cart, and then upgrade the horse and cart to a train, and the mine cart to, electric powered, something or other.
I mean, part of it is you need really large amounts of resources to be moved as well.
Make it financially viable, yeah.
To the point where belts are just not feasible. Like where you would have to have a super highway of 100 belts. Now in Factorio, you just don't need that. Again, unless you have decided not to play the game. In Fortress Craft, I did put in the an EP achievement at the end, but realistically, even in Fortress Craft, quite a lot of the stuff, it's just not that useful. You can just skip it. Some people do, some people don't. And so at least I've got some decisions. Also, can we just stop letting Malcolm just disappear off at the beginning of the race?
He happens me into the bloody arm code.
Oh no, I hit
You're in
him.
the way.
I hit him.
Yeah,
and then
he hit me into you.
Like a really bad game of billiards.
Awesome.
Quite funny actually the way it does it, because technically if you're the last to lowest position, it puts you in front, and then you're right in the way of everyone else as they come around the corner.
Yes.
So you're more likely to get completely destroyed.
Yes, being in first place is not everything it's cracked up to be.
Yeah. So when we've got it in reverse, maybe that's not the best thing.
Wow. But you're
I'll tell you why. Actually, that would make more sense if everyone's in the same car.
If only that was an option in the game that worked.
Yeah.
It is an option in the game. It's just not one that works. Yeah, no, I mean, game design and game balance is a fascinating discussion, quite often with no right answer, just an awful lot of wrong answers.
Or a lot of opinions.
Well, yeah, there is a lot of opinions.
Unless you played that game completely thrashed the snot out of it and got everything high end, and you're sort of like near developer levels of knowledge on the game, how the hell can you make a really truly informed decision on it? You just can't.
No, you can't. Which is why in Borderlands, sometimes you've got a gun, you go, I love this gun, and then you do the maths going, oh, this gun is shit, but it's super satisfying and looks really cool. Yeah. But sometimes, yeah absolutely. I think with Factorio, you have a lot of people who have done the maths, and they have... oh,
yes, you better believe it.
Yeah, oh, yeah. And that's fine, but the meta does tend to break the game. That's the problem. Once people get into gaming the meta of it. Oh, why is my car... No, it's you. Okay, I was like, why is my car steering to the left? And that's where people are starting to discuss things like rotating metas. So this week, trains are very different. Or, when it rains, let's say, in the game, when it rains, the trains are no good. So you don't have a perfect best solution. You have a certain best solution under some circumstances.
He tempted me and I didn't resist.
I know.
You're using meta in a weird way.
Okay, when you're talking about the meta, so let's say in this game, you sat down and you worked out the power to weight ratio of each car and you multiplied it up by the grip value to end up with a single number to represent how good the car was. So there's no playing the game, there's no enjoying the game, you can pick the best car. And then everyone knows what the best car is. That means if you don't choose the best car, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. That's the wrong way around the track, Malcolm. What the fuck? Why am I following you? I was hoping to smash you off, but for some reason, you continue to drive in the wrong direction. Yeah. So the meta is about using knowledge about the game that's not presented by the game in order to beat it. So an example would be a Warcraft example. If you were playing a warrior, you had to play a human because a couple of the passives made you the best tanks. But you might want to be a gnome warrior or an elven warrior, but they just weren't as good as human ones because of the meta balance of the game. Oh, gold.
Meta balance of the game.
Because of the numbers. But when people work out what the numbers are, then you are ruining the game. You're not playing the game for fun, or you're not playing it on the satisfaction or the design. You're playing it because of the numbers.
Because you want to win, and you want to win maximally, I guess.
Yeah, I mean sometimes.
It's maxi, not meta.
No, sometimes it's not even that though. Sometimes it's just that it turns out that there's a particularly bad skill point or a particularly bad combination of characters or a bad gun or a bad car, and you don't necessarily know this information from in-game information.
God damn it.
You know it from having sat down with a spreadsheet. And it's not you sitting down the spreadsheet, it's the issue. It's when the entire community sits down the spreadsheet and works out that one car always wins.
You mean EVE Online?
Well,
spreadsheets in space.
You're very critical of that way of playing it, like it's devoid of fun. But if some people are doing that and getting satisfaction out of doing it, then that's fun for them.
Yeah. Okay, Malcolm, how often do you make your own character build in Warcraft, and versus how many times did you just copy it of Icy Veins?
I pretty much made my one every single time.
Well, you're shit then. Fuck off.
No, Diablo 3 would be a better example.
I mean, Diablo 3, never copied that.
There is no...
If there's a game where it's just like, it's really badly balanced and you have to play it like that, then it's generally pretty shit. I don't like doing it.
Well, okay, I'm going to ignore Malcolm's opinion on this one and just put out as a statement of fact that nearly everyone just copies either they play badly or they're amazing. Both of these are quite rare.
Oh, wow.
Or they
just
copy paste their build off a website. And that is what...
I copy paste my Diablo 3 builds off Icy Veins. Because the builds are pretty bloody good.
Well, this is the problem. When you've got lots of people who do enjoy doing the meta, you can then use that information to give you an advantage. But that's only a handful of people who are analysing the core maths behind it, and then everybody else just. But, I mean, a good example would be the drills in Core Keeper. Yes. So a good example.
What the hell? My car was in front of yours.
So the drills in Core Keeper. So we would have done it the obvious way. You have one node and you just put loads of drills on it. That's the worst way to do it. And the only way I found this out was by reading the wiki page, was by looking at the meta of the game rather than the game itself, which doesn't give you this information.
Because someone sat there like working it out, going, okay, you get one per this number of drills, work it out how it actually works, and with a stopwatch, and recorded it, and then tried every combination. Someone's gone through and done that because of the fact they're just like, I don't think this is normal,
and therefore no one else has to, because there's no point.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you think he's wrong, obviously. So this is why these things are bad, because it's only a tiny handful of people playing that thing, and everyone else just goes, all right, yeah, this is the best thing.
There are some games that are like walkthrough resistance, but I guess those are the exception.
Yeah, well, this is what I mean about revolving stuff. For example, when it's sunny, belts work better, but when it's raining, trains are much, much worse. That sort of thing. So there is no best solution, but there is a resilient solution.
Isn't that just complicating the mechanics? It doesn't remove that there's going to be a max of this.
You could do a thing like, for instance, trains take longer to load and unload, but they travel faster. So as long as the distance is long enough, it makes sense to use trains.
No, because all you've done there is you've just made a graph, and I can tell you at this point that after you're travelling more than 60 metres, it's better to use a train. That's all you've done. There's a number, there's a cut-off. There's no variety.
So if you make trains be worse on rain, isn't that like a similar cut-off? Why is that any better?
Because you can input enough numbers in, so it just doesn't boil down to this is best.
I don't quite follow your argument that this is bad, like accepting that, yes, you're going to get a small minority that sit there and with a spreadsheet work out what the best build is for a game, and then everyone sort of copy-pastes it, and then you say, and that's bad. But doesn't logically follow that it's bad. If these games are born in an internet world where the developers expect people to compare ideas and so on. I mean, the worst thing about it, I suppose, is lack of variety. Why is it bad?
It has the issue that it gets rid of a lot of the experimentation from the game, unless you want to purposely put yourself at a disadvantage. Because
only if you can't resist cheating, like I would quite happily turn off Reddit and YouTube just to play the game and figure it out for myself, you know.
Right, but then Malcolm has just spent the last 2 days on Reddit and will absolutely trounce you because he knows all the things
about... talking about competitive games, I thought we were talking about things like Factorio, where you're just playing the game, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, not so much a Factorio, it's more about... I mean, you're right, we are in the age of the walkthrough, and it does kind of suck. Really,
walkthroughs have been around for a long time, though.
Some developers will assume that players will be aware of anything in the game, and there's like no way for the game to explain essential information.
That's funny because people kept giving me negative reviews because I didn't explain absolutely everything in the game, and I wasn't allowed to use the thing. Look at the wiki. So I'm going to disagree with that one just on principle.
I mean, my point I think I was a bit miffed about was comparing Diablo 3 to I forget the game. Start in the pub. That one. When we start in the pub.
Start in the pub?
Torchlight?
Yeah. No. You're in the pub mode to start every time it's in the pub.
Soda Dungeon. I love that game.
I can't remember now.
Well, you're starting...
Anyway,
is it a sideways scrolling dungeon...
No, 3D.
Oh.
Dungeon Defenders.
Dungeon Defenders, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Defenders.
Oh, that one.
The thing that separated Dungeon Defenders from Diablo 3 was the fact that in Dungeon Defenders there was a doll or whatever you could hit to find out if your gun improvement was actually any better or not. Whereas Diablo 3 you had no clue, and that's why you end up going to Icy Veins, because I don't know if this build actually gives me more DPS or not, because it goes, I can compare this value and I can compare that value, but I can't give you the total DPS, and I can't tell you whether I'm going to compare these extra special attributes because that would spoil it or something. I don't know what the reason behind it was, but basically there was no way of knowing whether your total DPS was better or not without going and beating up some mobs. You know?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the definition of the meta, is when you're using information that is not readily or obviously available to you in the game. Like Borderlands, I used to sit there.
How hard can it be to put a
training
dummy in?
Yep.
A training dummy and just shoot the shit out of the window and say, oh, my DPS is now this, right, it's better, let's do that, you know.
How hard
it's amazing how many games these days have no instructions at all, and they rely on the community sort of building a wiki, something like that.
Yeah, a lot of games are just like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? Or how do I get past the thing? You know, and you end up going to there.
I'm sorry, I tried to take out Hillbilly, I failed.
It's nice that the community does come together to support, you know, the players. I think that's a positive net gain. So.
I'm good, thank you. Shorty's Adventure, how are you? We're discussing game balancing and mechanics, which we should probably do more of, because mostly we just, I don't know, we just talk crap.
Then there's the alternate reality games that are balanced to be played as the gaming population as a whole. It's like meant for 100 people or 1,000 people, 3 of which are like cryptography experts. To be played in cooperative mode.
Yes. I mean, if you're only playing by yourself, or you're only purely playing for the fun of it, or you're only playing with mates, this all becomes a lot less of an issue. It's when you've got versus games where you've got games, you know, with leaderboards, etc. This is why Rocket League works quite well. I mean, I'm sure there are a whole bunch of things, but there's no discussion about what's the best car, because every car is absolutely identical. It is a completely
not correct.
It's not.
Sorry. No. I apologise. There are 3 types of car. I apologise. I'm sorry.
No.
Is it 4? There's 3 or 4. They all share a tiny number of hitboxes. It's only 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Well, which is it?
It's more than that. It's like, I think, I would guess.
Well, you don't
9?
know. Okay. Well, I'm going to guess 3. So there we go.
They don't all share the same car. Okay, well, it's definitely not 3. But yeah, it doesn't matter.
It was definitely not 9. So there we go.
Oh my god.
You flipped
my controller's run out of battery.
You flipped
I got front seat view.
You flipped the air. Oh, so Max, you tell us again how much better wireless controllers are. You were telling us the other day, and I think Malcolm needs to be told right now about how much better wireless controllers are. I think he
needs to preemptively change his batteries. So don't wait for them to run out, just change them anyway.
Why are you following me off the track?
Because I'm big and I'm slow.
Well, Izzard's in a Mini, so
Oh yeah, I can't explain anything.
One of the track entirely on my own accord.
Oh, okay, sorry. Why are you driving an Accord?
Popular family.
I mean, I'm a trendsetter.
Oh, bye-bye, Si.
I mean, and another thing is, sometimes players would bring me stuff, you know, in the meta for Fortress Craft, and sometimes I had to make a decision going, I didn't realise you could do these things. One of them was it's possible in Fortress Craft to build a very, 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 very low-level conveyor belt and to then macerate it back into component parts, and sometimes get more back than you put in. So you get like 101% of the resources. So this means if you scale it up, I've seen entire bases, kilometers wide, with no mineral collecting resource abilities at all, just crafting a belt and then macerating it and sorting the results. And it blew my mind. It was amazing. And I referred to it as an inploit because it's a lot worse than just playing it properly. But I was thoroughly impressed that it worked and that someone had decided to spend, I do not know how many hundreds of hours, just seeing if it would work. Why is it worse? Because my God, because they put, I do not know how many hundreds of hours. It's a less optimal way of playing the game.
In not going and mining some materials.
It has a high setup cost, but doesn't need to scale up with.
Well, have fun doing it.
Yeah.
Oh well, yes, they have fun doing it. Absolutely. This is. I was like, wow, I didn't think that worked. I mean, the thing is, you have to design a game around the player starting the game and then playing through to completion. You can't design the game around the player deciding to not play it. Because most people, they do want directed goals, not just, hey, do what you want, have fun, explore the world. Most people hate that shit.
I do. I hate that shit.
Well, that's why I like Outer Space, because it's got the life goals thing. So it's just like, hey, do 3 of these, get 10 of those. I'm like, yes, What the fuck, Max?
What's that, Malcolm? What do you hate?
I hate Garlic games that's just like, and now there's a whole new world to go and explore with no point of doing so whatsoever. I was like, okay, I'm just going to turn the PC off and walk outside then.
I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't. Liar.
Outside?
No, I didn't. I loaded up another game because fuck that shit. I loaded up a game that had achievements and things like, not achievements, but, you know, objectives.
You should try to play a virtual reality walking sim.
Yeah, what the fuck? Why? I mean, I can think of a reason that you might want to do that.
Sometimes I have problem with games like not having like a central mechanic, but just random objectives. Like some civilization games, like win a game as this character. That does like really count as a thing that makes a progression curve.
Yeah, I like those kind of things. Just play the game differently to achieve something.
I kind of don't. But I can't tell which are the good systems or the bad systems.
I think that's why I like the Zachtronics games, because there's a clear goal, and then once you completed it, you can either move on to the next puzzle, or you can refactor your current one for efficiency or speed, or whatever you like. Cost.
I'm all sweaty. It's not related to anything.
Now, if in Fortresscraft everything, there's no best solution, isn't Tier 2 energy like better than Tier 1? And there's never like which Tier power I should go for?
Yeah, but you've just summed up like 30 machines as a tier. Like, it is a tier, but that's not really important, is it? Like, it's a tier, but within that tier a whole bunch of machines, of which hopefully each one has a use. This is not the track I meant to select, never mind. So each one has a use. But, I mean, a good example within tier 2, I think it is the organic power banks. Because the organic power banks have vastly more storage, but much, much, much less throughput. So they have situations where they're useful and situations where they're not. So you've ended up there with sometimes other machines have a better purpose, rather than going, oh, I'll just do the best one.
Isn't the situation you are in Fortress just kind of static?
What do you mean?
Like there are ores and they have like distribution that is kind of set.
Well, again, if we just focus on tier 2 batteries versus organics, the organics require you to go and input personal time to going and retrieving the ore. So it turns into a very complicated thing. Unlike, let's say, Dyson Sphere program, I've just unlocked the new batteries, click, upgrade, all my batteries done. Don't have to think about it. There's no interesting mechanics or anything. It's just always upgrade everything to the next best thing, which is an obviously better thing. With Fortresscraft, I try not to make that. I try to make it so it's more interesting decisions for the player. Also needs a bigger variety of play styles, as opposed to someone going, you know, here is the play style, and if you want to get the best completion times, you'll just do it like this. Also, it leads to some fantastic discussions in general, where people arguing back and forth about what is the best way of achieving a thing. And normally I just watch and going, ah, interesting. It's interesting you think that.
Sounds a bit like Elite Dangerous or Jump Gate, where you'd always be trying to get the next, obviously better engine or...
Yeah, yeah, and I remember what happened. You decided to get the next obviously best engine to come and rescue you. Have you heard from Steve, by the way, at all? I don't think I've got him on Facebook or anything. Those people stop leaving Facebooks now. I don't know what's going on with them.
I don't. I met him years ago when he came over to the UK, but he's quite a different person these days. He's massively...
What, does he smoke?
It's worse than that. He's massively religious.
Oh, blimey. Wow, no, he was that way. It really is quite a personality change. He was a foul-mouthed, drinking, smoking man who used to skip work in order to play video games. I really liked him.
Yeah.
Hey, bye, Kazavan, how are you?
Okay, thanks.
That's all that happened.
So you gave me a rule. Nice solution.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've been following a particularly spectacular bit of news from the US, but there was a cat burglar. She was a woman, quite heavily pregnant, and she would break in and use the line, "You can't shoot me, I'm pregnant." And it used to work until it didn't. And there's now some discussion going about, obviously with the new Roe versus Wade thing, about whether this guy should be charged with double homicide or just homicide, because he shot her quite a lot.
You mean she was pregnant?
Oh, she was very pregnant, yeah. But she would just be, "You can't shoot me, I'm pregnant." And the guy sort of went, "There's a fucking cam." Jesus Christ, this guy's good.
He's always going for the top. He's got no armour on his vehicles, which is why they've got the highest numbers on them.
Well, you should teach him the error of his
164
ways.
rocket.
Teach him
Well,
the
I do
error.
like the armour.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Teach him the error of his ways.
I've taken some armour off so I can run a bit faster, and I was like, yeah, but now my car gets beaten up.
But yeah, the maths and the balancing behind games is genuinely interesting. Because computer games don't really do what board games do, which they do tend to get the game out to a whole bunch of people and do lots and lots and lots of playtesting and lots of changing. But computer games tend not to do that so much.
There are reasons for that.
Starting would be to write a computer program to balance the game for you.
I can't imagine that would work for 1 second. It'd either end up very, very easy, or very hard, or very weird.
When you go about balancing your game and tweaking it and tweaking all your power-ups and so on, you've got an aim in mind. It might be to make sure that no item is better than any other, or it might be to ensure gradual, steady progression. So you could write a sort of algorithm to tweak the numbers to evolve all the
measure that they can optimize.
I mean, that's kind of what I tried to do with my my procedural gun generation. Is I tried to balance the DP, the damage per minute, so you take into account reload times and stuff, and then as you get a better gun, it's fundamentally better than your previous gun. I flipped in quite a long way off the track. Oh god, I would have had Malcolm, but my car landed funny.
Yeah, it's often done by trial and error. I mean, you'll see like patches for games where they say, "Oh, we listened to feedback and we've given +2 to this particular item or something." Instead of sort of tweaking it and seeing if you've fixed anything.
It's much rarer, and I'd love an example though when a game just goes, "This mechanic doesn't work, we're removing it." And the only one I can think on top of my head would be Icarus, where they've removed the time ticks in your thing when you're not there. So they removed
Diablo 3.
Which... Oh yeah, actually, yeah, Diablo 3. They did go through quite a change of thing. Yep, that's a good one.
They moved the lifesteal.
They've removed more than that. Remember that you used to have to get to max level and then kill a bunch of champions in order to amaze your Nephilim championship level in order to get a stacking bonus to get more rare items out of bosses.
Oh, I don't remember that. Oh.
Yeah.
I got so pissed off when they removed the lifesteal thing.
And if you change your skills, then it reset the balance back to 0. It was quite a good idea. Well, it was quite a good idea. The idea was that
I remember that bit. Yeah.
But the problem was, what happened is it meant you spent the whole game leveling to 60, being able to change skills willy-nilly, and then suddenly you got to the end game, they're like, yeah, you can't do that anymore. Like, oh.
Yeah.
But they did recount. So yeah, that's a good example. Diablo 3, which is now a game that's been out for, what, 8 years or something. They actually did.
10, actually.
Oh, gosh. I guess it could be, yeah.
Just like to say, resetting in this game is bullshit because Hillbilly was in front of me, just completely fell over his own wheels, went arse over tits. And I went past it, and then 2 seconds later, he's overtaken me on the straight.
I put the reset time up to 5 seconds.
Yeah, the game auto resets you sometimes.
Oh, did he? He may have flipped out of bounds, I guess. Well, I'm not going to catch Malcolm now, because I just hit 2 other people. Yeah, I did put the reset.
Catch me anyway.
Oh, bloody was.
No, you weren't.
I really was.
I
hit 2 people, and I'm 5 seconds behind you.
Yeah. We were 4.5 seconds behind the last lap.
Yeah, but I just hit 2 people on that track. That was quite an impact. Yes, I don't know if there's a way of doing it other than just using a reset thing, but it's possible he got flicked out of bounds. I did flip him off the track quite early on, though. But this is something I've been looking at for Astro Trucks, is to make sure there isn't one profession that is necessarily much better than the rest, unless that profession has a suitable entry requirement. So, you know, driving a cargo transporter might net you 100 times what a taxi does, but it also needs to cost 95 times as much to run, and you need to invest X amount of time or effort or licensing or whatever in order to get that. So, and I need to try and make sure that everything has a use. And I try to make sure everything has a use, because it does annoy me when games just don't. Apart from, I might just use this to see how it goes. Oh, I'm going to go with the speedy. I'm going to regret this, but there's not much to hit on this track.
Yeah, useless items in games are annoying.
Well, I mean, half the cars in this game, then. The Trooper. Except, I guess, the exception here that we could, in theory, all pick the same car. Just in practice, it doesn't work. Are you off to bed, Malcolm?
I had enough of Wreckfest.
Ah, wow.
You had enough
I don't know why. I can play Wreckfest for like an hour or something, and I just go, yeah, bored of it.
Yeah.
Well, it's alright. It's a good game.
Yeah, I just wish there were more games we could put on rotation. It surprised me there aren't more racing games that aren't serious track races. Or arcade races. Well, I mean, even then, what arcade races are there? I mean, seriously.
So not serious and not serious.
What non-serious racing games are there? Name some.
Outrun.
From the last year.
Snow Runner.
Mario Kart.
From the last year. From the last year. What the fucking hell's the crew?
Mario Kart's very, well.
Sorry, Shoutka, when do you think Mario Kart came out? And do you want me to?
Is it at number 9 or 10? Which one?
I don't know, but it's still the same game. But are you suggesting we all start playing Switch games on the stream?
Hot Wheels Unleashed.
Oh fuck me, no.
Came out last year. What do you mean? Oh fuck me, no.
Because it's awful.
Grid Legends came out this year.
Not an arcade
Formula
game.
1.
It's definitely not an arcade game.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I tried getting into the Descenders game, but no one took it. That'd be a good one.
Was that the BMX one? Mountain bike one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was about 4 of them that all came out at once. So yeah, that was on Game Pass. There's Lonely Mountain, Descenders, and something else.
Yeah, Descenders is good fun. Definitely, that'll be a one worth a go. It's the same thing. It's like I could play it for a bit, and I'd be like, eh.
But my point is, there aren't enough non-serious racing games out there. They're all You know,
I mean, we've got we said the one we were getting, the Wipeout like one.
Okay, but that. Yeah,
we had
Red Out was really good.
There's a Disney version of Mario Kart coming out soon. Disney Speedsters
Right,
or
so
something,
now,
or Speed. I can't remember.
so
That
now,
one I'm
wait.
looking forward
So
to.
now you're starting to talk about games that don't even exist. So stick on what
They do exist.
Well, no,
just that it's not out yet. But my point is, though, that you were asking for games that we could potentially put on rotation, or when that comes out, that could be a good one.
Well, or it could be shit. So let's stick with the games that actually exist, given the whole past range of every race game ever released. I did want to try Quake Rally.
You did say the last year, so when you said last, I mean, if it's the last year only, then not ever released.
Yeah, well, yeah, but like Disney Track Race might be good, but it's not out, so it's irrelevant. I did want to try Quake Rally, which I didn't know got released as a standalone game, which apparently is quite good.
Rally, what is it?
So it's a rally game done in the Quake engine.
Why is that a selling point? Who comes up with that?
When the best 3D engine in the world is the Quake engine, and you want to do a rally game. I don't think Twisted Metal is getting a non-PlayStation release, which is a shame, because that could be rather fun.
To be fair, there's all the other games we played. The rocket car golf thing. That was a very different type of game and a race.
That doesn't exist because it's shit. Oh, I should also sorry.
Your opinion.
Would you like to play it?
Yeah, I'll go play it.
You are a liar.
No, I'll go play it. I've still got it installed.
We played it for like 20 minutes, and you went meh.
Really? You played it for 20 minutes.
You went meh.
I've played it for 2 hours, 117 minutes. You went meh. I remember that. I was like, yeah, I played it. Yeah, it's all right. It could do with something a little bit better, but it's all right.
Yeah, it's all right, but like, so it's having a really satisfying dump. It's all right. Doesn't mean I want to do it as my evening's entertainment. It's not.
You do want to do it several times a week at least.
Well, yes, but not for. Oh, there you go. It didn't load the track. I saw you.
Either way, there are loads of racing games that I would definitely give a go and play.
Name some.
Even if it's like, oh, I've named loads before. I've named some of that now.
Name some now.
Grid. Which the Thingy Racer 2?
Wait, which Grid?
Either, any, all of them.
So
Defenders.
Don't even think that's multi. Is it? I'm trying to remember.
Defenders, of course it is. Yes, it is. That's why I suggested it and bought it.
Is that the one that? So there was Lonely Mountain and something else. There was about 4, and they've all turned into a blur in my head of. I'm not even sure it's really a racing game though. I don't think there was much interaction other than you can.
You own Descenders. So you own Descenders.
Yeah, it's. I'm pretty sure it was more of a rally game than a racing game though. So more like it's a time trial, and whoever got the most time wins, rather than any sort of interaction.
Yeah, there's kind of
badge. It's not really much interaction apart from racing. You can't nudge people off or anything.
So it's a rally game.
And you can start at the same. You can start at the same time. And see.
You lot stuck.
My God, that guy's got no armor. You're not joking, Max. He's lost half his health in that first corner. I think he's knackered. It's a shame there aren't more flight sims as well. Like MFTS and SFS just didn't have a game, unfortunately. War Thunder's somewhere on the list, but like I don't know. I just don't know of any others outside of ones where.
It could be like a courier company delivering parcels around the world, in the quickest time,
Bear in mind that Microsoft Flight Simulator is 5 minutes of fun and cool, awesome, and then you take off, and then it's nothing apart from stare at the altimeter for 2 hours, and then 5 minutes of cool fun at landing. Like, the middle bit, there really isn't much happening.
Yeah, it needs to be more like F-29 Retaliator.
But yeah, I don't know of any dogfighting games, unfortunately.
Squadrons?
What, sorry?
Yeah, Squadrons.
Squadrons, yeah.
Unfortunately, we rather exhausted the scripted part of that. More importantly, I put everything we need to get the new XVT up and running, but I don't really have the time to do that. So it's all there, like state-of-the-art graphics, VR support, hotel support, everything, and proper scripted missions. But I didn't have like the enthusiasm to get it all together. And as far as I know, it's a lot better than Squadrons, but it isn't just a question of just obviously buy it. So there is that. Or we can get Space Whales and No Man's Sky.
I have a funny way of referring to games existing or not, and you have a qualifier that needs to be good.
No, what? No, my qualifier was, okay, if the Disney racing game exists, let's stop this and play it right now. Oh, we can't. Therefore, it does not exist. Because it's not out. You can't play
That's a funny way to use language.
Well, does it exist? Or,
Yeah, but
Is it available for purchase? Is
No.
what I think Adam
there's
was
no
trying to say.
there's no dogfighting games and squadrons. And then you're like,
what? No, like, well, Squadrons had 2 game modes, but we really exhausted everything out of the scripted one. And unfortunately, the dogfighting one, we don't really have enough players to play it privately, and we aren't good enough to play it on public servers. And or everyone else is a cheating fuck, obviously.
Gotta go and look on Steam, see if there's any racing games.
I think there's a few. But I'd like more things like Carmageddon or Wreckfest. It's just, there does seem to be a massive lack thereof. But yeah, we should definitely play Red Out some more. That was really good. Far Out's also good as well. That's not a racing game, but yeah, Red Out was really enjoyable. No, you damn it! He's getting away. Oh!
I sacrificed myself for you.
Yeah, but it wasn't him I was trying to get.
Oh. I'm looking at you for a wall. Why am I just looking
Oh,
at
the
wall?
cameras are broken on this game at this level.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be very close, Schalke. Very, very, very close. Yeah. Oh, wow.
I can go chase near. It's okay, chase near works.
World of Warplanes. I've not played that. I assume it's another. I don't know the difference between World of Warplanes and not Project Thunder. The other one. War Thunder. That's not Project War Thunder. I mean, there's a whole bunch of those because that Mothership game we played was really good, but we were like the only people playing it. And there's also World of Tanks and World of Boats. What's it called? World of Boats. What's it called?
War Thunder is kind of weird because it's also World of Tanks and World of Sea Ships.
But yeah, I don't have a lot of fondness for games where you could sum them up as all night long you repeatedly throw yourself into the grinder and hope that you win some of the matches. Like, that tends to wear quite thin. Like in Real War, you don't just keep going back in and hope you win this one.
3,
grab the next guy and say, please don't die, you too.
Oh, that was... I heard him hit the wall. That was nasty.
Cheers, Shaq, I love you too.
Kisses.
Sorry, Max, I'll give him a really, really big kiss.
No, no.
A really...
no.
Oh, no, what? No!
But you learn when bad things happen.
That was an interesting racing line there, Schalke. Not very fast, though. Excuse me.
I think it's more forgiving. That way might end up being somewhat fast.
I wonder if the Carmageddon guys are doing another game. Because the Carmageddon that we played was pretty good overall, but it was a complete disaster, so they re-released it. But I don't know whether or not they've just given up development entirely, or whether they have something coming. Like, if Bugbear did a Wreckfest 2, absolute day one, that would be brilliant purchase. Because I'm assuming it'd be all new shiny graphics and better crashes and deformation and stuff. Cool. Incidentally, I'm probably going to go after this one because I have spent the entire day carrying apparently half my household into the loft, so I am aching and knackered.
That was a good old tidy up, eh?
No, I just put everything where you can't see it. No, that is tidying. Yes, I've tidied up. But yeah, I got the loft boarded up.
It's not creative accounting, it's tidying up.
And I will probably, again, I keep saying this and stuff goes wrong, but I need to do another Astro Trucks test stream because we now have the physics deliverable asteroids, which are probably quite fun and have the potentially hilarious Slur Runner everything goes wrong moment of I've just run out of fuel and my asteroid is just floating off into space. Help, please. Without me, please, someone, not without my asteroid.
Are you gonna let the asteroids float far in that situation?
I can't let things float too far. There is what will probably happen is after a certain time of not being touched, they'll probably just come to a halt. There's a fundamental hard limit on how big I can simulate, but things go a bit wrong even before that. It'll be annoying.
Explain that in the game. In the game world.
Don't need to.
In the lore.
The asteroids come to a halt after a while because they do. I know. Macrometeors.
No, I'm just thinking you could, like, if you've got a claim on an asteroid, you plant a little emergency stoppy rocket-y thing on it.
Yeah, but I mean, if you don't have a stoppy rocket thing or you forget, I can't fundamentally have the asteroid leave the playing area. Well, I guess I could just have it so the asteroid just, once it hits a certain distance, if no one's nearby, it just resets, just disappears, it's gone. Yeah. Or, you know, after a certain distance, the station determines that that is a hazard, and then sends a rocket out to blow it up before it does any damage.
That'd be interesting. So then you'd have the race between getting your ship fueled up and before the rocket went and blew it up.
Yeah, that could be fun. I mean, but right now I want to test we've got the transport ships in, which are huge, slow, lumbering horrors, and you've got the mineral collectors, which can actually grab asteroids and put them into the grinders to make resources. And you've also got the tugboats, which can help push people around. So
I need a tug.
Oh, well, yeah. That was the alternative name for the game, Tug with Your Friends. But we'll do one more on A's, and then I said I might have to just go and bemoan not being old, but having hung around in a hot 50 or I think the thing said 55% humidity. So I was sweating, but it wasn't evaporating. I was just wet. Wait, how come Max has got a trike? I want a trike. Come on, you can do it. But yeah,
reset that checkpoint.
I wouldn't be adverse to playing a Squadrons game. I really like Squadrons. What I didn't like about Squadrons was the fact that we always lost, and it never felt like a close enough fun loss. It just felt like we were getting completely and totally stumped by people who are either much better than us, or in some cases they would just park up by the capital ships and kill them, and I'm like, well, when I do that I die. And again, this is the discussion about the meta, because they found a place you can park where no one can the guns can't see you, so they could just sit there and chip away at it. That's obviously not by design from the game. They didn't want you to do that, but obviously some people worked out how. I assume that Squadrons just got abandoned by EA. I don't think it's continued to be developed, but I guess I can have a look. Oh no, it's on the EA launcher, isn't it?
It's in Steam.
Yeah, I didn't buy it on Steam though. We all bought it on the... I think we did. I'd have to check.
Yeah, me too.
On Steam.
But what I will do, unfortunately, is I use the Steam version to check the news to see what the patches are. Because for some reason... because for some reason, Steam, whenever I buy a game somewhere else, I always look on the Steam page to work out what the patches are, because people are very good at keeping Steam patch notes up to date, but nowhere else. Like, good luck trying to find the patch notes on an Xbox game or a game on Epic.
Is there a reason for that?
I don't know. I mean, there aren't patch note support in Xbox. I mean, there literally isn't, and I don't know why. But same thing with Epic. I can't really look back through the previous news posts. Oh, whoopsie. So you reckon this way's better, do you, Schalke? Not sure I agree.
Has better defense. That would have been more devastating.
Yeah, I noticed I think you spotted what I was planning. Didn't let me get away with it. Oh, I was about to say that was a perfect corner, but then I hit the wall. Unfortunately, Outrun 2 never had network support, though it is an excellent game.
When you say there's no network support, you mean it doesn't support 2 players, or it doesn't?
So Outrun 2 had a port by Sumo, but was never put onto PC. MAME does support Outrun 2, and in theory you could play it networked, but it was designed for something with a 1/10 of a millisecond latency. They quite often don't work when you've got like 200 or 300 milliseconds.
Right.
So we tried this with when we've done stuff before, like trying to play it over the internet. It simply doesn't work because it was never.
Latency's way too much.
Yeah, because it was expecting a latency of basically 0. So it's frame sync. So your game draws a frame, my game draws a frame, and then it goes, I've drawn the frame. It's like, cool. But even 50 milliseconds, like a 50 millisecond ping will drop your frame rate to 20 then. Because Tad and I, we tried to play Advance Wars over a link cable. Like a pretend virtual link cable on the internet, and that's when we realised it really expected to be running over 2 feet of copper, not thousands of miles of it. Oh, we bought Origin. Oh, so we did buy it in Epic. Okay, cool. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind. I did like Squadrons a lot. It's not the issue that we were rubbish at it. I was genuinely disappointed with myself that I wasn't a lot better at it, given I grew up playing flight sims and dogfight games and spaceship games. I was expecting to trounce a lot of the newbie players who hadn't ever played that kind of game. But instead, the game did the magic thing where it just only matched me against people that are way better than me. And I never understand how games manage that sometimes. It's like Apex Legends, just surely through numbers at some point I should match against someone who it's their first game and I should beat them, but no.
How many first game hours do you think there constantly are?
But Shaka, I've been playing first person shooters, right, for 30 fucking years. I should be at some point somewhere along the bell curve. How come in Apex Legends I only somehow get matched against people who are a lot better than me? I just genuinely don't understand it. I'm not bad at first-person shooters. I'm not amazing, but I'm surely at some point going to get matched against people worse than me. But just never seem to happen. I always get matched against, and now this team here with this level 700 player with a Season 1 gold win trophy. Like, oh, brilliant, great. So I've been playing it. Someone who's been playing for, since the game came out. Great, wonderfully balanced.
People that are better spend more time there, so that bell curve of people present in the game is very different from absolute skill.
So why am I being matched against them?
Because their matchmaking wants you to get into a game fast rather than waiting for 2 hours to have the matchmade, because players don't have the patience for 2 hours. Good if you have 5 minutes.
5 minutes would be fine. Anyway, I am going to go and lay down and just bemoan my aches and pains. I can't remember what's on the schedule for tomorrow. I'd have to go and check. But I definitely want to do an Astrotux test, assuming I haven't broken it. So hopefully I will see some of you there for that tomorrow.